How are you for numbers, Simon, in terms of obviously you've lost 9 to Wales?
Yeah, we're a bit low. There's a number of players as well who've played a lot of rugby. Alan Thomas has played a huge amount of rugby, so he's one that we'd like to try and give a break to. Plus a couple of others in the forwards in particular, carrying a few bumps and bruises, and after a heavy period throughout Christmas, into the new year, and then into the last couple of games, I think we made over 300 tackles in 2 matches. It tells a bit of a story in itself, in the fact that we haven't been playing enough of the ball, but it also takes its toll physically. So, I think that's something we have to be mindful of with those players that have put in and played 80 minutes in both of those games. They've got through a hell of a lot of work, and ideally you don't want to be defending for that long, but when you are, then it takes its toll.
Yeah. Does this competition come at the right time with that?
I think it's where I saw it before. It had something different, and it allows us to see a couple of players, but also try and get some momentum into what is a really important block after Leicester, with the 4 Rabo games, 3 of them at home.
Yeah. Does it release pressure in a little way?
Not so much on performance and results is really where my pressure comes from, myself and to the players, and we haven't really had either of those in certainly in results, but also in performance. We've had patches in games, but not consistently, and that's the pressure that I'll be putting on the team and the coaches this week and next week, is that we've got to gain some results, but also gain performance, and hopefully the results will come off the back of that.
There's been a lot of frustration amongst the fans. I mean, can you understand that?
Yeah, I can understand. It's disappointing when you don't gain a win in Europe, and that's probably a combination of things. We had a really tough group, and we didn't play well in a couple of games, which we lost as well. So there's a combination of reasons for those poor results in Europe. Off the back of that, we've lost momentum in the league, but we're still in a fairly strong position.
Good run.
Yeah, and that's I don't think any side will go through the season without having little dips. We have had a fair share of that, and we've had a fair share of international call-ups, a fair share of injuries recently as well. So we need to use this next couple of weeks to get some guys back on their feet, get some form into some players, and go into that block of 4 games with a real ambition to go and get 4 great performances, and hopefully that, as I say, the results will come off the back of that. The fans have, on the whole, been excellent and been very supportive, and understanding and realisation of what we're up against. Ulster have made the top 8. Leinster have just missed out. Claremont, but Leinster were European champions last year. Claremont, top couple of seeds as well. So it's not like we haven't played good sides. We played very, very good sides. We haven't helped our cause either by getting things in our game wrong, and not. We've fed the opposition far too much, and I think that's going to be a big focus for us in the next couple of weeks, is not feeding the opposition as much as we are doing in certain field positions as well, and trying to play a bit more with the ball.
You signed Steve Shingler yesterday. Obviously, do you see him as a 10 coming back, or as a versatile?
Versatile, yeah. I think he's had a couple of years away from this environment, which I think has been a real blessing for him. He's worked with Mike Catt in particular, who he's learned a huge amount from. So I think we'll be gaining a Scarlet, but also we'll be gaining someone who's had outside experience, and his ability to play 10, 12, 13 and 15 this year is evident. His goal kicking stats are excellent. He's a 80% plus goal kicker, and with that then allows him to play across the back line, but also add a real competition and focus for that goal kicking, which has without doubt been an issue for us in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, will you be looking to, obviously you've lost Morgan, you said it was a big blow a couple of weeks ago, is that an area where you'll be looking to recruit in the summer?
Yeah, I mean we've looked at it more recently, but it's very difficult at this stage of the season to find players who aren't in contract.
Yeah, so bring somebody in for this season.
Yeah, but it's probably it might not happen now just because of the timing and the fact that the quality players usually are tied up into contracts, whether it would be Super Rugby now or obviously in Europe will be tied up with contracts. So it is a big blow. You take Morgan and Reece Priestland out of any backline, and it's going to not be as effective. But I've been really pleased with the guys that have come in and stepped up, and it's given those guys opportunity and exposure at the very highest level, and they'll only and we'll only gain from that, I think.
How do you feel you are in this competition at the moment? It's difficult when a judge in terms of points.
There's nothing in it. we're bottom, but we're a point from top, so it's everyone's had a win. It's a difficult one to gauge because there's a fair bit of time between the competition, between the round as well, between rounds 2 and 3. You kind of have got focuses elsewhere, and now it's on the LV, and we have an opportunity to go and win a couple of games, and if that puts us in a semi-final, then that'd be great. That's our focus at the moment is gaining performance, and hopefully those results will come, and that might be good enough to get one win might be good enough, because you don't play against the teams in your group. You really have no control over what goes on outside of that. So it is a bit of a different format, but it allows you to play 4 matches and allows you to potentially only win 1 or 2 games and still qualify.
I saw the semi-pros play up during Sunday. I know Wyn Williams had a good performance. Is he someone in your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Aled has been outstanding for the last 9 or 10 weeks, but we have to look beyond him in terms of strength and depth. Dan Newton's still struggling with a groin injury, and Owen played really well on the weekend, and he played really well in Gala as well the week before. So he's had a couple of really good weeks of rugby. He's playing on the front foot. He looks confident. He looked really confident on Sunday against Moseley, and he's definitely a player that I have a lot of time for, and probably this gives him an opportunity to get some game time with us and allow him to step up and make an impact. And I'm sure if he shows the sort of form he has done the last couple of weeks for Llanelli, then hopefully he'll have more opportunities.
Just the last one from me. Obviously, Rodri Jones, he's been coming off a lot on the bench lately. So has he been fine since the shoulder, or is it just a case of bringing him in?
I think it's taken a bit longer to get that right. I'm not going to pretend I know as much about scrummaging as certain people. So I think it has taken a bit longer than expected, but he looks a lot stronger now than he did 6-8 weeks ago. He looks, although he hasn't started as much rugby for us, he's started a couple of Llanelli games. I think he looks like he's got a bit more match fitness now, and he will have a big contribution now in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully that will allow him to get some form back in for pushing for starting selection come the Rabo.
Phil's played a lot of games.
He has, and he's done really well, and we've got to share that workload a little bit in that front 5 in particular. We've got some good numbers there at the moment. We've got a fairly good level of availability as well in terms of injuries. Apart from Smiler and Ken being away, we're pretty lucky there beyond that as well. So we have to make sure we give everyone opportunities and look after certain players that have had a bit more game time. And this next couple of weeks gives us opportunities to do both of those.
You just talked about players stepping up, Simon, and sort of obviously we're going to be seeing the wider squad now. just looking at the opposition you've got with Sale and Leicester, it's been pretty tough as well. So talk about stepping up in front of two big English teams as well.
Yeah, Sale I think have backed off the last couple of weeks in the Heineken, so I think they'll use this next couple of weeks to gain some momentum into their season as well, and they are in a precarious position in their league, but just as losing can come out of it, winning can as well, and they'll be looking to use these next 2 weeks as a bit of a momentum boost. And Leicester are the holders of the competition as well, so it's exciting for the lads. Wouldn't normally come up against a couple of English clubs back to back, but now we have the opportunity to go and test ourselves against two good teams, and probably bring a little bit of a different dimension in terms of physicality and the way they play the game. But it'll be a real test for us in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully it's one that the ones that get the opportunity, especially this week's against Sale, will hopefully put their hand up and give them an opportunity to gain selection for Leicester and beyond.